I'm going to show you again, Jesse Lee Peterson show right quick. Well, not quick, it's about 3 hours, but hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by
Happy Wednesday.
The man.
Good morning.
I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Good morning. You know, I was reflecting this morning, like today is Wednesday again. I'm like, what the? It's amazing that today is Wednesday again. And so I'm wondering, it just seems as though the sun is coming up and just going around the earth, coming up and going down, coming up and going down.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773. 888-77. Jesse. 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 Am I? No biblical. I forgot about the biblical question again. What the? You got enough work to work on to help yourself anyway. If you're not using what I've already given you to use, I don't know what else you need. We have every way that you can watch or support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And if you're out and about,
how you doing, C? Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
Whatever it is that you're doing, and you just can't sit and watch the show. Anywhere in the world, different time zones around the world. And we are here Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time, 9 to noon Eastern time.
Oh, yeah, Jesse the man.
Around the world. By everybody and they mama, if you're black. Everybody and their mama, if you're white. And for the flat earther, we love the flat earthers. We are heard up and down the world. For the flat earther.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
And if you're white, everybody and their mama. So you can podcast if you can't sit and watch it, but you could be listening to the show on your phone. by calling the listen line on TalkStream Live at 605-615-4131. 605-615-4131. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLPTalk, buymeacoffee.com/JLPTalk, or Bond JLP Cash App. Bond JLP Cash App. Manhood Hour is coming up in the third hour. Rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Amazing, huh? Yes, Jesse. That is amazing. Amazing. I doing a little reflection. I'm always trying to get an understanding. Above all,
thanks for the light.
get an understanding. And so I was reflecting last night, yesterday, during the day, and I'm wondering, why is it that some people see that Donald Trump is doing the best he can and an amazing job to make America great again and to bring back jobs and shut the borders down and lock up the criminals? And
how you doing, Joseph? Hello. I'm from I'm from Chicago, but I live in Rockford now for about 2 years. Hello. Thanks for joining in.
Try to bring peace around the world. And we have not seen anything like this in hundreds of years, where a man truly doing his best to
Thanks for joining in. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining in. Like and subscribe. Thank you, guys.
First time in 100, 200, 300, 40 years, however many years. And so I would wonder, why is it that some people can see that, but other people can't see it? They think that Donald Trump is doing a horrible job. They think that he is hurting America by shutting down.
Thanks,
the
Joseph.
border.
Appreciate it, man.
They
100.
think that he's hurting America with tariff. And even though I don't understand tariff all the way, I'm black and slow, but I know that it's going to be bringing back jobs and bringing money into the country. And bringing jobs back, and he is now gathering the illegal aliens. And all people that come into the country illegally is a criminal. And he's doing something about that, like no other president has ever done. They don't seem to see that. When the fallen Messiah, Barack Obama and Big Mama Michelle was in the White House, and then Joe Biden and Jill Biden was in the White House, things were awful. I remember seeing people coming across the borders in droves from around the world, and they had no idea who they were. They gave them cell phones, and then they told them to claim asylum. Say that you are an asylum. The government, according to all the reports, and the liberal media were teaching the criminals how to deceive the American people. And then they would come in under those two people, and they would get free houses, free hotels, free food. It was a party, and the American people had to pay the price. And I remember when Obama was in the White House, there was an attack up on conservatives. With the IRS department, they didn't want to get you approved for that. They went after the Tea Party. They did all kinds of things. How come some people don't see, and then crime, they defunded the police under Biden. And I believe Barack Obama, I know that's when Black Lives Matter came about. But, and then in our country, it was just a mess, riots and everything. Why is it that some people see that, but some people don't? What is it that is blocking the mind from seeing the reality of the difference between the former Messiah, Barack Obama, and Biden, and Joe Biden, UK hot, and President Trump. How come the obvious is not obvious to most people, or some people? I was wondering that. I was also wondering, how come some, and it seems like most people in this situation, why is it that most people can see what's happening with Israel and Palestine, the war that they've been having, and what they say is happening to the blacks and all that. But why is it that no one seems to see the genocide on white people? Even white people can tell you about the Jews and Palestine and what the Jews are doing to whatever the country or whatever they say. But no one rarely sees or mentions what's happening to white people. And it's so apparent to me that whites are under attack in their own countries. And nobody seems, well, a few people see it, but nobody really seems to see it. Why? Even white people are afraid to even say it, what's happening to the whites. Why? What's wrong with the mind that as an individual that you can't see reality for yourself? Gotta have me some punch and coffee. Good. Punchy coffee. Amazing. In a punchy's cup. Good. You can get it all at JLP.shop. I'm having a punchy coffee with the Halloween nighttime. Done by the Anchor Baby. But why is that? Another thing that is so interesting to me, really, this is mind-blowing. Why is it that most people don't, or all people, maybe one or two are starting to see it now, but why is it that human beings...
Good morning. Thank you for watching this with me. Thank you. Good morning.
Around the world.
Like and subscribe.
By everybody and their mama. Really. Men and women, all races. Why is it that people can't see that you are your own world? You are the world. Why is it that people can't see that you, meaning the individual, is their own world? And there's no world outside of you. It's inside of you. And then everything that is happening to you is happening in you, in your own world. But you think it's happening outside of you. Most people think it's happening outside of them. And they think somebody else is doing it to them. You made me mad. You made me glad. You made me worried. You made me afraid. You made me not afraid. You made me this. You made me that. Why do you think that you don't see that it's you, it's happening in you, in your world, inside of you, and that except for the physical attack, the psychological, emotional.
How you doing, CJ? Good morning.
Nobody's doing that to you. It's happening in you. And that unless you conquer
What's up,
that
Charleston?
world,
Good morning.
That you're never going to be at peace. Why can't you see that? That peace comes from within, not without. And the only way you're going to have peace in you and in the world is that you got to have it in you. You could be at perfect peace and the world around you, meaning human beings are going crazy. And you could be at perfect peace because you have conquered the world inside of you, and you are in control of your own world, the universe, in all honesty. It's all inside of you. It's not even outside. Why do you look on the outside and tremble? Why? How come you don't know that what you're seeing is in you and it's not real? It's not real. You think that it's real. You think that you have troubles. You think that you have worries. You think that you have doubts and that you're in need of something. You're just thinking that inside of you. Why don't you lay down the thinking and see what happens? Why not just do it? Why do you think that somebody else can hurt you inwardly? I'm not talking about the physical. They can't attack the physical body. And you have to watch out for that. But why do you think that somebody can make you feel some kind of a way? Whatever way that is. Why? And then you blame them. You get mad at them. And then if you're dating or whatever, you say, stay with me, love me. I can't get enough of your love, babe. You think that they're loving you and you're loving them. It's not real. How come you can't see that it's happening in you? Why don't you overcome the world by overcoming the world in you? The darkness, the illusion. One other quick thing I think. Maybe two, but one other real quick one. I've been doing a lot of reflection. Why don't you know? Think about this one. Smoke on this one. Why don't you know that there is no such thing as a hero? Why don't you know that? You're always looking for heroes. Didn't you know that you're my hero? You're everything I ever wanted to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. Thank you.
Jesse's
Why
a
don't
fool.
you know that there is no such thing as a hero? Yes, people make up things. Oh, you're a war vet. You got so many blue stickers, whatever they put on you. Then you made a statue after you, and you call that a hero. Why do you not know you don't need any heroes? First of all, they don't exist. But when you build heroes in your mind, you're building up gods. Why don't you know that? You're building false gods. One other quick thing. I can go on and on, but I'm going to stop. Why don't you know? Think about this. Now, this would deep. Not only are you worshiping other people and calling them your God, false God, why don't you know that every time you are afraid, that you worry, that you have doubt, that you have suicidal thoughts, that you have emotional pain, that you have whatever it is, you're looking for love, you want somebody to love you. You want somebody to be friends with you. You want this, you can't live alone. You need a family. Why don't you know that every time you do that, not only do you worship other people, places, and things, you're worshiping yourself, self-worshiping. And most human beings love self-worshiping. Poor me. I was traumatized by my mama. My daddy did me this. My dad, poor me, my friends won't play with me. I had a guy call me up yesterday for counseling. Well, he had a counseling appointment. And he said, Jesse, I'm like, what? How come I'm so nice to everybody? I take people out and I pay for dinner. I pay for the movie or whatever they do. I pay for this. But then no, they don't treat me the same way. They won't play with me, but I play with them. I'm like, oh, they won't play with you? Poor you. You trying to buy friendship. You trying to buy love and no one will give it back to you. What a sad way to live. Why do you always self-worship yourself? Why? If you're not worshiping somebody else, you're worshiping yourself. Poor me. And why? Really? Why don't you ask why? Why do I do this? Why is this happening? What is it about me I'm not seeing? People love self-worshiping. I venture to say all people does. Why? Why? One other quick why. Oh, question. Why do you think that God gonna help you whenever you're trying to help yourself? The truth, reality, God is never gonna help you as long as you lift a hand to help yourself.
Faith without work is dead.
As long as you lift a hand to help yourself, He's not gonna help you. The truth is not gonna do anything for you. You can bank on that. And I'm not talking about going to work, go to work, buy your food, and when the government shut down, you don't think be mad because they take your food step away. Well, why do you think that the truth is going to help you when you're trying to help yourself? It's not going to do anything for you. It's not going to touch you until you lay down your weapons, until you stop trying to help yourself at all, because there's nothing you can do about yourself. And you say, you read the Bible, Allah Waba Bible, the Torah, the Christian Bible, the Catholic Bible, the Jewish Bible, the Mormon Bible, and you still can't help yourself because you're trying to help yourself. The truth is only going to help you when you completely give up. When you finally say, you know what? I can't help myself. I've tried. And it ain't working. I give up. I'm not going to try to help myself again. And then the truth will kick in and take over and change your world. Change your illusionary world, your false ideas about life and about the world. It's not going to help. I don't care how you cry, how you beg, how you read the word, how you lift up holy hands, how you say Allahu Akbar, whatever you say. It ain't going to do one thing for you. It's not, and the truth doesn't work that way. That's how you and he will work. But it's not going to help you until finally you say, no more, I give up. I'm trying. And it ain't working. What is preventing you from doing that? Some of you say you want help. When did you get away from individual thinking? When I was growing up, it was more pronounced then about individual thinking, think for yourself. That's gone now. You think in groups. You think like everybody else thinks. You're afraid to think differently. Because that means you may have to stand alone. And because you don't understand reality, you're afraid to stand alone.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
You could be standing amongst thousands and millions, and you still are alone. They could be applauding you, and you still alone. Because as soon as the applauding fade away, and that thrill of being glorified is gone, you'll know that you're alone. Now you got to find another thrill because you're scared now. I feel so empty now. I need to go back on stage. I need another play. Where's the crowd that make me feel good? That's what you say. Why don't you let go and let reality catch up with you? That's what the silent prayer is for. To cause you, encourage you to let go and let the spirit of truth just take over. You stop trying to save yourself psychologically and emotionally. Why not just let go? Why don't you just say, you know what, this ain't working what I've been doing. And for the Christians, you don't trust God. You wouldn't trust God if he walked up to you with his mama Mary, with Jesus with his mama Mary. You wouldn't believe that it's him. What a mess! When I look at the world, it fills me with sorrow. When I look at the world, it fills me with sorrow. Children today gonna suffer tomorrow. I tell you all the time, and I'm black and slow.
Good morning.
Give up thinking. A perfect life
is he pregnant?
is a no thinking life.
Oh, wow.
A miserable life is a thinking life. God and his son Jesus did not communicate with words. Adam and his father
Thanks
God
for the likes. Thanks for the subs.
Communicate with words. And you, as a son or a daughter of God, were to return to him, you will see that all words will end. And you would know without words. But no, you've been taught to think. Think about what you've done to me. Yeah, think. I need you, and you need me. Think. Well, sad, you're afraid to live. Down in Orange County, Florida, from the WESH2 News, a man accused of trying to rape a woman while she was running on a trail in Orange County in July has been arrested. And according to the arrest report, investigators spoke with the accused man's girlfriend with whom he lived. And she asked him, what really happened, honey? Well, they ain't said honey. But what really happened? The man said, I didn't try to rape the lady. I was trying to kill the lady.
Damn.
Watch this from WESG2 News.
Orange County Sheriff's investigators say Jacoby Tillman attacked a woman from behind while she was running on the Little Econ Greenway near Yates Road on July 25th of this year. The victim said she went for a run alone around 8 a.m. She said once she got halfway through the run and returned to her car, she noticed an unknown man behind her. Moments later, she said he grabbed her and wrapped both arms around her neck, choking her, causing her to see stars. The report says she blacked out, and when the victim woke up, she was still face down and realized that her shorts and underwear were not on anymore. Detectives also looked at some video surveillance time-stamped around 9:05 of a man described by one of the witnesses throwing the victim's clothes over this fence. According to the arrest report, investigators spoke with Jacoby Tillman's girlfriend, who he lived with, and she asked him what really happened. He said, "I didn't rape the lady. I was trying to kill the lady." She asked him why, and he said, "Because I wanted to know what it was like to choke someone out." She said this was not a surprise to her because a few weeks earlier, she and Jacoby got into an altercation where he choked her to the point where she passed out. Now, the arrest report also says that the girlfriend got a text message today by mistake from Tillman's mother, telling him to get a boarding pass from Delta Airlines to catch a flight tomorrow to Texas. Tillman is in the Orange County Jail.
I will love my mama. She's my baby girl. Quick break, back in a moment.
And I just want to take a second and tell them that it works. You just have to stick with it.
Good morning, happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for watching this with me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So depressed
like and subscribe.
And suicidal at sometimes that I just would have to stop in the middle of my job or whatever I was doing and go into the silent prayer. And it really does help. Like, I don't have those anymore.
You haven't seen anything yet. Doubt every thought. Bring every thought into captivity. Just let them all pass. Don't judge them. You haven't seen anything. It gets better and better and better and easier and easier and easier. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. Amazing. Welcome back. Couple quick announcements. Brand new episode of The Fallen State this Friday. If the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise. I had a fun conversation with Jimmy Dorr. It was fun and funny, but yet serious. And Jimmy is a stand-up comedian, political commentator, and the host of the Jimmy Dorr Show. Watch this.
Next time on The Fallen State.
So do you love God?
If a gun to my head, I would say yes.
You need a gun to your head to say that?
You already did it. You already got me cornered.
Have you ever did a show and nobody laughed?
Yes.
What does that feel like?
Feels like just another day.
Were women created to lead or to follow?
I think they should just shut up.
I don't know.
This isn't the hot seat? Holy sh**.
It was a fun conversation this Friday at 11 a.m. Jimmy Dorr.
Good morning, my boys. Good morning. Good morning.
Help us becoming a member of the Fallen State.
Happy Wednesday.
Right there on the YouTube channel.
Happy every day. Blessings.
.com. And at 9 a.m. this morning and every morning, Monday through Friday, the Hake Report.com. From 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. And after the Hake Report, the American Anchor Baby. Monday through Thursday at 11 to 1, but on Friday after the Father's Day, around 12:30. But Monday through Thursday, the American Incubator. A lot going on. Let me just finish this soundbite with this guy that was accused of trying to rape a woman. And according to a report down there in Florida, the man said, I wasn't trying to rape her. I was trying to choke her out. What the? Which is worse, to be accused of being a rapist in jail or attempted murder? If the story is true. Which is worse?
Yeah, you're right, my voice. They'll definitely leave.
And according to WESH report, a judge has agreed to revoke bond for a man accused of trying to rape a woman on an Orange County trail. Watching for Fox News.
I want you to listen up. You got an atrocious record. These charges are violent in nature. If I get any inkling that you have violated the conditions of pretrial release, you will be arrested on a no bond warrant. You'll be put right back in jail, and you will not get out. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am. It leads most reasonable people to ask the question: was the judge bound by some type of law to release this defendant?
No, Lawrence, the judge was not bound by any type of law to release him in any way. This judge can set a cash bail. This judge could have held him no bond, so he could have been kept in custody during the pendency of his case.
Amazing, huh? Mama let him out. No bond. Isn't that amazing? Think about that. And you sit back and you see, you're the ones, you're like in the audience. And you hear all the evidence. And the evidence is, allegedly this guy tried to, as he said, according to the report, choke her out. Some people say he tried to rape her. He said choke her out. The man should go and at least be held in jail until the trial. But mama let him out. And you're like, why did mama? And then now you're doubting yourself that the man did it or not. Or at least he should be in jail until the trial happens. You doubt yourself because you're not able to stand alone. Meaning that the judge sounded like a female judge, mama, and she let the poor black guy out. And then you say, well, black people have been enslaved for so many years. They let them out. It's not fair to put the blacks in jail. You doubt yourself. If ever I needed you, Lord, we needed you. We need you now. Amazing, huh? She's like, oh, no, Bill, and the boy's like, you gonna let
Thanks
me
for the
out?
likes.
What
Good
the-
morning.
You mean I ain't gotta have no bail? You about to still let me out? Don't tell daddy mama is letting you out, all right? But don't let daddy know about it. Or you know how your daddy is. Your daddy wants you to go to jail. That's how they do with Trump. Trump is doing sending the illegals back, rounding them up. Because anyone that crosses the border illegally is an illegal alien, right? And dad is rounding them up, and mama mad. And so mama go out and protest. She bring the kids, all the kids with her. Because dad is too hard on the people. And you take mama's side because it seems easier. You're not knowing that you've been set up to have a miserable life. What a mess! Let me go to California and talk to Mimi. Mimi, you are on the air.
Hi, good morning, Jesse.
Hey, Mimi, how you?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
No woman is good, all is well.
You're right. All is well with me. I thought you were asking the question, but
How you doing, Richard?
you already
Happy Wednesday.
answered
Good
it.
morning.
So, I guess this is just a good morning call.
Meaning what? What question?
So you asked the question about the how come people can't see kind of what Trump is doing
like and subscribe.
And say that there is an identity with the group of people thinking that they can be helpers and heroes. So it's funny because you already answered it. I'm sure you already knew you were going to do that. But, it's funny because I was watching your interview with the woman that had written the article that said that Trump's ship was sinking. And I realized that there's a lot of...
That's what's up. I'm a fan too as well, Richard.
Especially when trying to justify some of the actions against the country.
The last 3 months, I've been playing them in the morning around this time.
The group. And I get it. We're all Americans. But I think that there is the inability, and you said this already, but to stand alone. I think that
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I record after 6 p.m. when I get off work. During the weekday, I go live when I can, maybe twice
to think
in
for
a day.
themselves and to answer some hard questions. And I don't think that that's what's happening. I think that it's easy to get people to kind of be riled up in their emotions so that you don't think. Well, but you don't. Never mind. I'm going down a road that I shouldn't be, because thinking is not necessary. But I think, I don't know where I'm going with this. Thinking will be a mess.
I think that it's so interesting that you have like 2 examples right in front.
Thanks again for watching this with me. Happy Wednesday. Thank you guys. Happy Wednesday. Like and subscribe.
For years, and things got really bad in America. Illegal coming across the border like 90 going north.
Thanks for the sub. Thank you.
Cell phones. They brought in drugs. Everybody and their mama getting high off fentanyl, dying, and all kinds of stuff. Trump come, and that went on for years. And some of the people were like, help, we're sinking. But mama would not help. And then they finally get Donald Trump, the great white hope. And Donald Trump said, okay, I'll clean up the mess. I'll shut down the borders. I'll put a wall around your house so the illegals can't come in. I will arrest the illegals and send them back. I will bring back jobs. And the people like, no, that's not really happening. That's not this. I'm like, how come y'all don't see the difference? Why can't they see the difference? It doesn't make sense to me. Something that's so apparent is not apparent to a lot of people.
Well, but I think that, I know that there's different immigrants, but I think that the bigger, there's an issue on certain borders than others, and especially the border here in California. I think that people are believing that, illegal aliens that are coming in from Mexico will do the jobs that nobody wants to do. There's all these
but
arguments
people don't believe that. I don't know how they believe that, because if you, let's say, keep the illegal out, that means that when you hire someone to do the field work or the foreman work, you're going to make more money because they're going to pay you more, because cheap labor is no longer around, right? Everything will change for the best. So I don't know how they fall for that either. Hello? Mimi?
Yes.
What are you doing?
Nothing. I was answering the question. I was talking, and you.
Well,
But
I think your phone hit mute or something because you fade out there for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I wanted to say is that it's a dangerous road to travel down to have this indictment against America with the illusion that there is a utopian country, like that there is a country where everything is perfect and everyone is happy. Like you say, California is the one that is, United States is kind of the closest country you can get to heaven on this, the greatest country that you can get to on this side of heaven. But this indictment against America, where everybody is just taking all of the ill wills that have happened in this country as it was a new nation, as if there was somewhere else that someone can go. I heard someone say that, I'll just go to Thailand. And I'm like, you know what? First of all, you're black. And if too many black people start going out to Thailand, they will shut their borders. One thing that they don't understand also is that there is no country that has these open border policies. None of them, even the crazy ones that, the ones that seem like they need more people in their economy, like, some of the Latin American countries. You just can't just plop down there and just live there if you want to.
It seems as though only the European countries allow that. They just open up their borders and let anybody in. And they're the one that suffer because they let all these people in.
Yeah. I think that that's one of the things that you talk about, and that, once you start to search from within, you start to realize the truth without, like I always say to you, Jesse, you're amazing.
Good morning, Pat. They close the borders. Wow.
You can still arrive at the truth. The only thing that you have to do is to search from within.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you can find the answers because God loves us enough to give them to us.
How you doing, Mike? Good morning. Happy
really
Wednesday.
Require any man other than Jesus Christ that walked the earth, that continues to live in us. But
when you look within, though, you can't look within and then answer the questions yourself. You have to
She's
look
a boss
within
lady.
and
Okay.
completely let go. There's nothing you can do about it. But I want you to help poor Tony out. Tony from California is on the line, and he's saying that Trump is doing a terrible job. Can you help Tony?
What the?
Hold on, let me get him. Hold on. Tony from California, you're on the air.
Good morning, Jesse. How the heck are you,
Tony, you're on with Mimi as well. Go ahead.
Good morning, Miss Mimi. I was talking about, as y'all call him the Great White Hope.
Some people call him amazing. The wind and the sea obey him. Some people call him daddy. Some people call him king. I call him the Great White Hope, Donald Trump.
But the thing is, I call him the Great Destroyer. He destroyed this country each and every day he sits in that White House.
Because of time, give me two examples of how he's destroying the country.
Well, look at the job situation. Look at the...
What's the job situation?
We losing jobs each and every day.
How are you losing jobs?
We have in the history...
Tony, how are you losing jobs?
Because you're getting 17,000 jobs a month. That's it.
How many should we get?
Hey, that's Slim. Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
And when Biden and Obama was in office, we was getting like 180 to 250,000 jobs per month.
That's because nobody was working and no number made up. Tony, hey, I'm going to let you go, Tony. Tony, I want Mimi to respond to you. Give me another example how to...
Yep, happy Wednesday.
Give me
Thank you.
another example, and then I'll let Mimi respond to you. Give me another example how Trump is destroying America.
Because he got rid of all the Mexicans because they were building America. They were kept the fields and crops and the farmers going. Ask the farmers what they're doing today. They are begging.
Good morning, Delco.
So, Mimi, how do you respond to Tony?
First of all, Tony, it's mighty early for you to be so revved up. I mean, I want to drink. I love Crunchy's coffee, but I want the coffee that you're drinking because first and foremost,
Hold on, Tony.
Let her talk.
No. The only thing I'm going to say to you is that if you ever just stop to ask yourself, do you really even care about the stuff that you're talking about? How do you care about unemployment of all of these people when you don't know all these people? And most of them are American citizens, and a large portion of them are white. And according to your actions and the way that you speak, you don't even like white people. So why would you care if they become unemployed? What we fail to realize, and I can tell that you're black, I don't know that the question has been ever answered as to whether or not you were black, but I know that you're black. But
so you can hear her. You can't hear as it is.
I hear every line come out.
But let her finish so I can let. Bye, Tony. I had to let Tony go. He's never gonna have a sober discussion with him. You making all that fake laughter. But he's gone. Mimi.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask, because of time, are you completely giving up trying to save yourself?
Every single day, I die daily.
Right on. Amazing. Well, I appreciate your call, your input. I was trying to let you have a conversation with Tony, but that's impossible.
We are all given an amazing gift when we get the opportunity to work on ourselves. And I am just blessed that I found it. As much as I didn't care to be in Los Angeles, I don't think that there's another place that God could have done his greatest works on me. So, I guess that'll be the first time that I ever say, amazing about,
Amazing.
where I am. But yeah, I think that, Jesse, you call out, you call out the evil that is in this world by calling people out of their darkness and out of their thoughts. And that's all we really can do, and there's a lot of emotion. I'm Black, and
She black.
she is Black, and it's so funny because there is so much emotion in our culture.
Yeah.
If that is even what you want to call it, if you call it culture.
Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the
There's
subs.
just so much
Good morning.
emotion. We're willing to laugh and huff and puff and get angry and pretend like we're angry when we're really not. Like, Tony doesn't care about the unemployment rate. He doesn't even, I can't speak for him, but I
That's true. He
doubt
doesn't.
he cares
Tony,
about,
not even
I
paying
doubt he cares
attention to
about his
that.
next, I doubt he cares about his next door neighbor, the person that's literally right beside him. They probably share the same, electrical panels. They probably share, the same power coming in from the electrical company. And I'm not saying that they're sharing power like nefariously. I'm saying that it comes from the same power pole.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, we pretend to, in our culture, and we have all these people that are acting like they really care about us, but they really don't. They really want us to keep this really low baseline for our lives and be like, poor is me, so that they can be the hero. And it's just not real.
Yeah.
You don't have to, the Black culture doesn't need a hero. We are our own men and women.
Yeah.
We can feed our families. We can, do things without committing a bunch of crimes and going to jail. We can live without having a bunch of girls getting pregnant at, 50, looking at 32-year-old men hanging out at the high school. Like, we don't have to live like this.
Yeah. I gotta run, Mimi. Amazing call. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jesse. It's always a pleasure.
All right.
Have a great day.
All right. Amazing. Thank you. 888-7753. 773-888. 77 Jesse. Super chat. Super.
Eric explained his super chat about when men, quoting Jesse, when men marry women, their father-in-law is the devil. JLP. That was a quote from you, actually. And
that's from yesterday?
Yeah. And that means that women's daddy is Satan.
Oh.
And so your father, not your
physical father, the spiritual father.
Yeah.
The evil one. Man, thank you. Now it makes sense. Thank you. Absolutely.
Good morning, Pointless. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining in.
Love or hate, positive or negative, God or the devil, God will always prevail. Heart emoji.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll have to read the rest of these later, guys.
A quick break. 2 more hours to go. What a mess. I tried to let Tony at least talk to me. It did not work. My bad. Back in a moment.
I just wanted to say that I've been listening to you
is totally different now. I'm more calm. I'm more peaceful. We talk about forgiving your mother and then go that hate. It just transformed you. So I just want to thank you for that and let you know that you really are doing God's work by waking
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining in.
Amazing, Aaron. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
man.
thank
I
you.
appreciate that. I can hear the angels in heaven singing right now. They're rejoicing. That's amazing. Stay with the silent prayer. Speak up, don't resent, and doubt every thought. And Aaron, you have not seen anything. Anything.
A whole lot of mess going on in this old world over here.
Morning.
So-called federal workers not working. They're missing their paychecks because they're shut down. Thanks, Democrats.
Democrat.
And the Ukraine mess. Another attack from Russia. Sweet. I get that's not sweet. But anyway, in the hostage release drama, the bodies of these late hostages are being more turned over and ID'd, turned over by Hamas, being ID'd by Israel. Drama ongoing from that. This is the end of hour 1 of the Jason Peterson Show. It is Wednesday, the 22nd of October, AD 2025. The lines are full. Okay, the lines are full, but you can call in every so often just in case the line opens up. It is hate news, not fake news. JLP will be right back to your calls, and we'll get to more of your super chats and more great stories. All right. And by the way, today is Wednesday. That means after JLP is Hake, and then Anchor Baby, and then
Right, we save ourselves.
I think, and then Punchy TV live today, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 4 Central, 5 Eastern. Punchy TV. All right. We'll schedule that nice little event for you guys to join us live for 1 hour on Punchy TV. So cool. And then you can podcast tomorrow. Nice. Commie Nonsense Network CNN reports more than 1 billion federal so-called workers missing paychecks as the government shutdown stretches into its 3rd week. I feel like it should be into more than its 3rd week because 21 days seems like it's already 3 weeks. So would that mean it's going into its 4th week? But maybe I was told wrong the number of days it's been. I don't know. Some workers are still being paid, and some are stuck in limbo. Some may be fired, and some may not get any compensation whatsoever. Interesting stuff. And the Ukraine. Russia launched an air attack on Ukraine today, killing at least 6 people. Whoa. Causing power outages across much of the country. Explosions jolted the Ukrainian capital of Kiev.
I'm on rage bait. I'm just showing a video of Jesse. Let him do all the talking with the audience. I'm not rage baiting nobody.
Spelling to kiss up to the Ukrainians. And I kiss up to the Ukrainians too, but I don't know. Anyway, it also damaged residential areas. Russia once again targeting energy facilities to wipe out heat and water for Ukrainians as they head into winter. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Moscow has become less interested in diplomacy now that the United States has refused to provide Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles. So claims Zelensky, who argues that Ukraine's ability to strike deep into Russian territory might be the key to
No, I would like to bring videos that brings common sense to the table. That's my challenge, about bringing common sense to the table.
He said he would
and learn from each other.
But he announced Tuesday the meeting is off because it could be a quote unquote waste of time. Nice. I didn't know that Trump was the one who canceled it. Sweet. I like that because Trump is unpredictable. All right. Nice. Sweet. Anyway, the hostage release stuff, Israel has identified the bodies of 2 more hostages handed over by Hamas as a U.S. delegation is working to reinforce a fragile ceasefire in the Middle East. Among the remains returned to Israel Tuesday was the body of 85-year-old Ari, A-R-Y-E, pardon my butchering of his name, Zalmanovic, whatever. The oldest hostage taken by Hamas following the attacks on October 7th, 2023 AD.
What was Jesse doing? It works. It brings out the best and the worst out of the person when he asks these questions. So it's cool to me.
President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, they met several recently freed hostages, or at least a few, in Tel Aviv. Vice President J.D. Vance is in Israel as well, partly to help ensure that Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu remains committed to that ceasefire. So, nice. I'm James Haig, now back to the Jason Lee Peterson Show. Hour 2.
Just another way of communication, like a comedian telling a joke. He's telling the truth, but he tell a lot, but it's all how the message has been delivered.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jason Lee Peterson. Good morning. It's the second hour of the show today, and you can get involved by calling 888-7753, 773-888-77-JESSE. Jesse. Jesse. No biblical question yet, but I did give it an assignment for a week during the fellowship. The assignment was let it pass through. Whatever you feel or think, let it pass.
Good morning, Central Hill. Good morning.
Pass through you and see what happens. For 1 week only, see what happens. Amazing, huh? We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And if you're out and about, running around, you just can't sit and watch the show, you can podcast, but you can listen to the show on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line on Talk Stream Live at 605-615-4131. 605-615-4131. And to donate to have your comments read out loud. And we're going to catch up with the super chats. Go to buy me on coffee.com/JOP Talk. Buy me on coffee.com/JOP Talk. Or Bond JLP Cash App. Bond JLP Cash App. What a mess! A battle between good and evil. Right versus wrong. Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. I mentioned how
Uncle Rose, Jerry Springer. Oh, wow.
Instead of complaining about what the Great White Hope is doing, Donald Trump is doing to make America great again, you better be grateful. What manner of man is this? The wind and the sea obeys him. They call him King. They had a King rally last weekend. Several King rallies would happen. They call Trump King. Some people call him Daddy. I call him the Great White Hope. And right now, he is rounding up the illegal aliens. In your own country, he's looking out for you and you're mad. What what sense does that make? What it is, you've been so accustomed to mama running the house that there has never been any real correction made in the home with the mama there, right? Daddy is home. And now you're mad at daddy for cleaning up the house. Your own country. KTLA's report. This is from KTLA 5. A federal agent and a person who was allegedly in the United States illegally was struck by gunfire during an immigration raid in South Central on Thursday morning. Watch this from CBS LA.
He's very dangerous right now.
Gunfire shattered the stillness in South Los Angeles Tuesday morning, leaving a deputy U.S. Marshal injured, a man in custody, and a community deeply shaken.
Richard called me here.
Pierre Rojas is a TikTok journalist who says he saw his friend, who goes by Richard LA on TikTok, being taken away by federal immigration officials.
The federal just go to Richard and I got take it, Richard.
Rojas recorded video of the tail end of the arrest. The Department of Homeland Security tells us federal officers from ICE and the U.S. Marshals were tracking a man with undocumented status who had previously escaped custody as part of a targeted enforcement stop. DHS says when they tried to arrest him after pulling him over in a standard law enforcement procedure, the man used his car as a weapon, ramming law enforcement vehicles in an attempt to flee, saying officers followed training and fired defensive shots after fearing for their safety. In the midst of it all, a bullet ricocheted, striking a U.S. Marshal in the hand.
Richard no open the door and the federal just, hey, open the door, no open the door, and they take that shots.
Amazing, huh? Did you ever imagine one day that we would vote for a man to run our country and he would literally work hard to make it better? And you get mad. Not all of you, not most of you. You're mad about the man, Donald Trump, doing his job. Amazing, huh? There are some people who suggested that you get a gun. Why would anybody make that kind of suggestion? And I believe he was saying that the illegals should get a gun in America. And that's what the Second Amendment is for. The Second Amendment is not for criminals. But and if you break the law to come here, you're a criminal. No matter how you got here, you can call it asylum if you want. They told you to say that. And you think that's bad. I told you that women were created to lead. To follow and not to lead. Women were created to follow and not to lead. Here's a perfect example of that from WCPO, Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa.
Yeah, I see your comment. I'm letting Jesse talk because right now he's making sense what he's saying. How your brain rotting when he's asking different people different questions and they answering it. And he's letting them answer.
In leadership, why should some eggs?
Chief DG has been on the force for more than 30 years and was the first woman to be sworn in as chief. Last week, Mayor Aftab Pureval told me his confidence in the chief has changed due to the ongoing violence in the city. And there is a press conference tomorrow, and actually just getting now word from the city as I'm looking at this, the city manager Long has placed Chief DG on paid administrative leave due to ongoing investigation. I'm going to go on to read a part of the statement that we just got. It says the city continues to face serious public safety challenges that underscores the need for stability at the command level. Therefore, I've named Assistant Chief Adam Henney.
You say he hates women. What makes him hate women? What did he say about them?
Maintaining stability within the department and ensuring the highest standards of service to our residents.
Amazing. If the children are not going to listen to the mother in the home, why do you think they're going to listen to the mother outside the home? Why? Why do you think it's going to change if they put them in charge outside of the home. Everything going to hell in a handbasket.
All right, thanks for joining,
The
man.
authority is in the
Del
man.
Cole,
It's
thank you,
not
man.
in the
Appreciate you
woman.
commenting.
And you're not going to change God's order just because you don't like it. Why? Why? And it's not a bad thing that women were not created to lead, they were created to follow. It's the order. And those ladies who are overcoming the fallen state, they have no problem. It's not even up for a debate. It's not even up for thinking about. They're not trying to lead. And they love being who they really are. They love it. No struggles, no worries, no jealousy, no trying to lead. Nothing's just free. What other quick with it? I get back to your calls and super chat here. I want to know, should this female lose her job too? You just heard this Cincinnati police so-called chief. What you doing? Call a woman a chief? What the? That don't even sound right. It's like calling a woman an executive. She's an executive person. A businesswoman who is an executive. But I want my country back, but it's not coming back. I'm saying I want it back, but I know it's not coming back. It's done. Fox 32 is reporting of a video that users on social media says shows a school teacher in Chicago marking the death of Charlie Kirk at a protest. I never imagined that
Yeah, a woman can be a boss.
School teacher out marking the death of anyone. Remember when I was in high school or in school period, school teacher was so respectable. There was no light and adult light. And you never imagined that a school teacher would be out celebrating the death of anyone. Watch this from Fox 32.
Yeah, some women can run a successful business. Yes, they can.
They say that's a school teacher. Hey, you ever heard of
The caption reads, "The woman is mocking Charlie Kirk's death. That lady from the video is Lucy Martinez."
Well, that's Jesse's opinion. I don't agree with everything Jesse says it do. Same thing with Donald Trump.
Woman, like for our podcast listeners, this woman is just making this motion of like a bullet.
But some of the things he do says it does make sense to me.
And so, and then Monday morning, she going back to school and say, "Good morning, kids."
Like, I'm married. He's not married, I believe. So I'm married. So
Miss Liz is
certain things he says, I'm not going to be, oh, yeah, he's right. I'm married. So I'm not going to listen to everything he says
This
about
is
women.
not the
Trust me.
American
It's a
way.
big difference.
Good morning, kids. I'm your teacher for this week. I am Lucy Martinez. What do you say? Oh, I had an amazing weekend this week. I went to a protest and I marked the shooting of Charlie. This is not American. That's why we should not have foreigners in our country like this. In our government, in our schools, in our businesses. Let me go to South Africa and talk to Tim B out of South Mommy Africa. Tim B, you are on the air.
Hi, Jesse. How are you doing?
All is well, Tim B.
Cool. You crack me up when you say Mommy Africa.
Mommy Africa.
Anyway, Jesse, I just wanted to firstly say thank you so much for everything that you have done. It really has helped me listening to your radio show as well as listening to the fellowship. It's really, really helped me a lot. And I find that now that I've been seeking the truth, I've become very single-minded.
Yeah.
I'm making decisions very clearly. And speaking of that,
How you doing, Jed?
Well, I kind of actually had two questions, but there's one very important one that I think I'll get to first. And I wanted to ask you what you think I made the right decision. I just wanted some guidance on this. But
I lost a subscriber. Oh, wow.
Working on myself, one of the things that has become very apparent and clear to me is that, I mean,
Thanks for joining in, like and
I
subscribe.
don't really see a reason why I should be, close, quote unquote, to my parents or things like that. But there was a situation, or let's say there is a situation where my parents are in a position where they have illnesses and things like that, right? So, and I visit them sometimes when I can. I do have a fiance and I have a child, so I have a life. But when I do go and visit them, I do, right, when I can. But I think it was about 2 weeks back when I went to visit. My father is in a situation where, he can't really get up and stuff. So my mother had to do a lot of the things at home. And prior to, let's say, 4 months back, he was working and things like that. But now it seems as though my mother's doing everything. And I don't know, he was just kind of telling me that, oh, you don't come often at home. You should, when you can, come home so that your mother can take a break and that you do like some of the stuff that she's doing. And in my mind, I was like, I don't know, that just seems so wrong to me. That just didn't make any sense. And I told him, I was like, my first priority is my family. Because he was like, family is family. And he was talking about him and my mother and, But to me, it was just so clear that what he's saying is wrong, because how can I go, like, I don't know, it's not my responsibility, is it? So I don't know. I told him that I don't want to, I do come visit when I can, but I told him I don't want to feel pressured into doing something, because I realized doing that almost makes me not want to do it. It almost makes me resentful in a way. I don't know. But I don't know. Did I make the right decision? Did I speak up in the right way? Because at the same time as I did that, I immediately had the thoughts that were piling up in my mind saying, oh, how could you? This is your father, this is your mother, kind of thing. But on the other hand, I do also see that that was what I was supposed to do, and I spoke up in that instance.
And your question is what?
So my question is, I don't know, was I wrong for what I said?
The fact that you don't want to do it, you should not be doing it. You felt resentful because he would put that kind of pressure on you. That's not love. And so you should just be clear. I have my own family. I can't do that. And you and mama need to take care of yourself. It's not my responsibility. Why not just be straight up with him? Because if you do it and you don't want to do it, you're doing it out of force and not out of love. So why not just be clear with him about that?
Yeah. Well, I did speak up about it, but I guess.
Why are you doubting it then?
Yeah.
No, that was a question.
Yeah, I know. I guess I'm doubting.
Why are you doubting? What's the question?
I guess it's because, like, I was raised in a way where I wasn't raised in a situation where I'm supposed to detach myself like that. But because I've been working on myself, now I see what the right way is. But talking
so
to you
if
now,
you see what the right way is, why are you doubting it?
I guess I'm listening to those thoughts.
You are. You got angry, and now you went right back into the darkness of your imagination, and you're doubting. If you didn't get angry, you could speak up without being angry. But you said that you became resentful when your father put that on you like that. And the moment you became resentful, you went back into the darkness of your imagination. Now you doubt everything. Why don't you learn to speak up without being angry? There's never, ever, 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 ever a reason to be angry.
Yeah, but why is that hard to do?
What?
like speaking out without anger. Because what happens is that
It's not
in that
hard to
moment-
do. You just won't do it. You prefer the thrill of being angry than to speak up. Because there's no thrill when you don't have emotions. And human beings love thrills. They would do, like that guy said, he was a courtship report. He said, I wasn't trying to rape the woman, I was trying to kill the woman. See what it's like to choke her out. Human beings love thrills. So-called good thrills or bad thrills, but they love thrills.
Yeah.
So stop loving the thrills. Then you can speak up without being angry.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. I definitely got angry. That's true.
Yeah. Because you wanted a thrill, you wanted to feel something.
But when I felt what I felt, I was aware that I felt it, but I spoke up anyway. I didn't do it unconsciously, if you know what I mean. Like, almost like I couldn't help myself.
Right.
But I spoke up anyway. But I am aware that it brought up, or let me say, I had the thought and then it brought up that anger, because I believe it. But when I was in that emotion, when I was speaking to him, I was aware that I'm feeling that way.
Around and take care of you the rest of your life. Your parents are supposed to take care of themselves. And they're supposed to prepare a life for when they get older. They won't become a burden.
Thank you for watching this with me. Thank you. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Thank you, guys.
Live your life. And if you want to help, you will without feeling like obligated to do that. You're not obligated to them at all.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I have been doing. But when he said that, it almost seems like what I'm doing is not enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's never going to be enough, because as long as they can control you, enough is never enough.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm just going to continue to work on myself.
Of course. Don't stop working on yourself so you can wake up completely, have a clear mind in all things.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Anything else?
Can I just quickly ask one more question, actually?
Yeah, real fast because of time.
Yeah. This might sound like a silly question. Am I wrong for? And I almost already know the answer, but I want to ask it anyway. Am I wrong for? I have one child now. Am I wrong for not giving her siblings, or not having the intention to give her siblings? Is that wrong?
Am I wrong for trying to be all that I can be while you only want one child? It's not about giving her siblings. It's about why, if you're not going to want any children, why get married?
Because in the position that I'm in now, it seems like this is what I can handle. Like, I don't want, as in, I don't just want to have more children for the sake of having more.
Are you married?
Yes. Well, I have a fiance and I'm going to get married.
And so he's not able to take care of you? And his children?
He is.
So then why are you working? What do you mean by more than you can handle?
I don't know. Well, let me say, I'm not opposed to having more children, but I don't know. I think that was a dumb question, as I said at the beginning.
And what was dumb about the question?
Because I think I know I shouldn't plan to or not.
Amazing. Good morning.
Right.
Yeah. I know
understand.
that's true.
What's your confusion? You said that the man that you're about to marry, he's the father to the child, right?
Yeah.
And then you're gonna get married, he can take care of this family, right?
Yes.
So why is that even a question in your mind? Why is that a question?
I don't know. It was definitely I don't know. I don't know why I asked that, to be honest. Because I do know that I shouldn't plan
I
to
thought you
have
had a
children.
clear mind.
Well, evidently I don't.
Because you get married because you want a family, you want children, right? But if you don't want children, then you don't need to get married. There's no reason to be married except to make babies. And if you don't want babies, but if you're going to get married and you married a man that you know can take care of you and his children, I don't know why that's a question to you.
Are you supposed to have lots of children?
You're supposed to have them till you can't have them no more.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Okay. Thank you, Jesse.
Are you doing the silent prayer every morning, every night?
Yes, I am.
Well, just stay with that and practice being present. Are you afraid to have children or something? Are you? What is it? Are you afraid you won't be able to what with the children?
I mean, I'm working on myself now, right? For myself, but also because I see, I mean, even listening to you and hearing the things that you've been saying about how the mother imposes her will and things like that. So even though I'm working on myself for myself, I'm also aware that it's going to impact my child and or children if I should have more children. So I don't know, in my mind it just doesn't make sense to make more if I'm already in a position.
But if you're working on yourself, why are you listening to those thoughts telling you that you're going to do that? All thoughts are all lies all the time about anything. Why would you believe thoughts? You're working on yourself, so you're overcoming evil. And if you stay with it, you'll be led by the truth, which is love. And you only pass love unto the children rather than hate. All mothers hate the children until they truly return to God.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense.
What the? Stay out of those thoughts. You believe in them.
Yes.
All thoughts, all lies, all the time about anything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll stay out of my thoughts.
All right, let me know how it goes.
Okay. Thanks, Jesse.
One last quick question. Do you trust the man that you're about to marry?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Oh, well, relax and work on yourself and let truth take care of you.
Okay. Yes, I'll do that. I'll continue with the silent prayer. But it's not an easy. Man, I wish I could come to the fellowship. I really believe one day I will. But it's not an easy thing. The task is simple, but it's like a continuous, daily task.
But stay with it though, anyway. And it will become easier. Stay with it. Going through hell is not easy in the beginning, but if you stay with it, it's going to be easier to go through hell.
Yeah.
All you're doing is going through hell by facing the far south.
Yep. So it's hell over here.
It's in you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I got to run. Let me know how it goes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Super chat. Super.
Over on YouTube, Fuego says, "How do I remain holy while living in super woke and evil Portland, Oregon?"
Because the Portland is in you. Overcome the Portland is in you, and you'll be fine. Amazing.
Nice answer. over on buymeacoffee.com/JLPTalk. Calling it dating perpetuates the lie, says Eric. 5.
Amazing. Thank you. I don't quite know what that means, but thank you.
Thank you, Eric. It probably refers to a call from yesterday. But anyway, we'll have to read the rest later, guys.
Let me
Thank
take
y'all.
a quick break. What a mess! Back in a moment.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday to you guys. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe.
Steve, thank you for calling and thanks for holding. How have you been helped by the show?
I'm going to tell you this. I believe you might go down in history as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, black man that ever lived on planet Earth, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know anybody before you that's been that great. You know, freeing the slaves is one thing, but you've been freeing people of their mind, which matters. It should be anyhow to you more than anything else, because with the mind not being right, there ain't nothing else going to happen right anyway.
If you can doubt every thought because you're not your thoughts, if you can doubt every thought, knowing that you're not your thoughts, you don't create them, they're not.
Finna switch it up right quick.
Trump in Texas. That's not true. From Mexico is 44-year-old Carlitos Ricardo Parias. Federal agents say he was their target in an immigration enforcement near downtown LA yesterday. Agents say once they bought the suspect's car in, Parias rammed his car into an agent's vehicle and spun his tires so intensely his car was fishtailing, spewing smoke, and debris went flying, causing agents to worry the car would dislodge and hit them. Agents say Parias refused to comply with orders, and ultimately an agent opened fire, hitting Parias in the elbow. A bullet ricocheted and hit an officer. Both are expected to be okay. Now, if you take a look at the front driver tire of the suspect's car in one of the pictures released by the feds, it appears the suspect spun his tires with such force, the front driver tire disintegrated and basically melted into the ground. Parias was taken into custody and charged with assault by a federal officer after the incident. Activists gathered at the hospital where Parias and the officer were being treated. One activist seemed to call for people to resist ICE.
They are not the only ones with guns in this city. They're not the only ones, and don't forget that. And I don't say that because we're calling for violence. I'm saying that because the people have every right to defend themselves against masked, unidentified gunmen with AR-15s and other military rifles.
And witnesses say the suspect arrested is a well-known TikToker who documents immigration enforcements here in LA. The suspect was recognized by LA City Council for his videos earlier this year. DHS says these dangerous attempts to evade arrest come after sanctuary politicians have held webinars and provided resources and tips on how people can block and defy ICE.
Welcome to my bar of cockatoo. So much democracy when you employer me. You want to win your next election. I can hurt you in your erection. So much democracy.
Sing the song, Jared. This
how good, how bad. The meme is, I can't even sing the song. If I try, the channel comes down if I try and sing the song. So we're just going to go with it. Jerry, every day, Jerry tries to break me on this program. You try to break me, Jerry. It's not going to happen, Jerry. Actually, it does happen virtually every single day. And today, Wednesday, October 22nd, is no exception. It is the beautiful day, 2025. This is the year of our Lord. And we have glorious news to report to you, comrade, from the front lines of the battle against the comrades, against the Marxists in California. We are winning. California voter ID will be on the ballot. We can destroy Democrats in California. We can fix that state. And we can use the power of democracy to do it. Trump roasts Obama's library. Can we fix Chicago? That I don't know. That I'm not sure about. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a stacked show. Carl DeMaio from the Voter ID Vote California Initiative will be joining with glorious news from the front lines. Representative Nicole Maliotakis from New York to talk about communism in New York, and Senator Rand Paul will join the show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is the Benny Show. American Finance will help make sure that you are out of high-interest credit card debt. A little breathing room before the holidays. High-interest credit card debt is skyrocketing and spiraling.
Doing good, Bruce. Good morning.
Families into inability to afford
Happy Wednesday.
things like food, gas, so on. These interest rates are totally criminal and should be illegal in the 20s and 30s. I don't support it, but I don't make the rules, sadly. What I do have is a partnership with American Financing that help you get out of that high-interest debt and consolidate that debt into something that is far more in line with like the Fed funds rate anyway. Tens of thousands.
Yeah, me. No credit cards over here either. No.
In order to get the job done, you should too. American Financing at 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219 for AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. Okay. There was a story out of Michigan this year. Producers, I asked for this. Let me make sure that we got it. Michigan, legal voter. Let's go. Where there's a illegal that voted. It was a kid from communist China, if I recall correctly, who was a student at the University of Michigan. Now, this is something that should boggle the mind.
Definitely a scam. I tried to get one. I never got one. I tried.
There's a literal kid. Here's the DOJ website right here. A Chinese national at the University of Michigan. The communists are trying to take over the country. Well, here's the communists. Chinese national. There is no other political party. You are a member of the CCP or you get banished to a Uyghur slave camp. So a Chinese communist national is allowed to vote in the 2024 election. This communist was welcomed here by our student loan and visa program in order to come here and to study at the University of Michigan. I don't know this kid. I'm not trying to pretend I know what they were trying to do here, but it's pretty obvious that what they did was cheat in an election. That's what this is. Now, they caught.
Yeah, interest rate is ridiculous. No point even getting it.
They caught this one kid. How many slipped through? You know what the best part about all this is? Let's go ahead and read the filing together, shall we? The best part of this story is that the vote counted. You understand this? That like foreign communists from the only call it what it is, call communist China what it is, the only country that really stands in opposition to America around the world.
Yeah, banking loans better.
Our enemy. They're not our friend.
Even that's don't mess with that too much.
Communist China is
Oh, a loan shark.
what hell would look like to me. Social credit system, constant surveillance, no free thought, no free speech, concentration camps if you disagree. That's hell. That's a slave state. Okay, that's just a slave state. That's just going back to feudalism, right? That's just rewinding the clock on human progress and go back to the Stone Age with kings. And the kings are the communists, and they're in charge. They're dictators for life. Communist China is evil. Everything from organ harvesting to the COVID policies that they instituted, to the social credit system, to their persecution of the Christian church. They're evil, right? Their people are voting in our elections. And they're voting for Kamala Harris. I assure you, this kid didn't vote for Trump. You don't know that. I'm just going to use the principles of deduction here and say that this individual named Ho Jian Gao, a citizen and a national of the People's Republic of China, it's not a republic, registered to vote and voted and wasn't stopped. And their vote counted in Detroit in the 2024 election. Gao was a student attending the University of Michigan. He illegally registered to vote. I mean, they made it hard to vote. He registered to vote illegally in the days before the 2024 election, using his University of Michigan student ID, and then cast a ballot in the election at a polling location, the University of Michigan Museum of Art in Ann Arbor. Like further alleges that Gao made false statements regarding his citizenship on his voter registration application form and his early voting application. After being charged with state offenses, the court granted Gao a $5,000 personal bond with conditions including that he does not leave the state of Michigan, surrender his passport. Gao did surrender his passport, but the day before the new administration took office in Washington, Gao jumped the bond and fled the country on a flight bound for Shanghai, China. Customs and Border Protection records show that Gao passed through Detroit Metropolitan Airport security using a People's Republic of China passport in his name, bearing a number different from the number on the passport that he surrendered to the University of Michigan police. So China sprung him from America after he voted illegally and was caught. Do you understand how severe this all is? His vote counted. I don't think it's a huge headline that illegals vote in our election, that Marxist illegals vote in our election who have clear ties to the Communist Party of China. I mean, look at this. This is espionage stuff. This is James Bond stuff. So China snuck him either a fake passport that he was
there was bogus for that, man.
or a new passport
good man.
that was able to run through the system.
Nobody should get death threats at all. That's crazy.
Right before Trump took office. Isn't that amazing? So how many Chinese communists voted in the 2024 election? Kamala Harris. How many of these sleeper cells were there? Notice how he's voting in a place like Detroit. He's not voting in Idaho. He's voting in a swing state, in a swing city, on a swing university, where you could presumably slide under the radar. He was able to register to vote and was able to cast a ballot illegally, but legally. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like no one caught him. His ballot counted. Belaboring the point. But I'm trying to prove with this instance exactly how stupid our voter laws are in this country.
Yeah, the truth scares them, hurts them.
State where Michigan borders the state of Wisconsin. Of course, we all remember what a nightmare Wisconsin was in 2020. It was one of those states, just like Michigan, where Trump's beating Biden beautifully. Get me some of the charts and numbers from this. In 2020, Trump's beating Biden, and then suddenly there's just this magical drop box of ballots. How bad were the drop boxes in Wisconsin? Do you know that mayors of towns in Wisconsin physically were removing drop boxes because they were so fraudulent? So many fraudulent votes were being dumped into them. They were saying there's no monitoring. There's no figuring out where these ballots actually come from. They could all be coming from the Communist Party of China. I mean, that was happening just around the corner in Detroit. The Wisconsin elections were a total and complete nightmare. And the people of Wisconsin knew that. Of course, all those remarkable little, it's always the same thing. It was the same thing in Georgia, the same thing in Arizona, same thing in Wisconsin, same thing in Michigan. Here's the chart that will be burned into all of our minds. The chart that's burned into all of our brains. There you go.
You got to stay prayed up that nothing happens. No, just got to stay prayed up.
Election night. Right when 90% of the ballots are counted, suddenly, bloop, and every state looks the exact same. Every state, the exact same chart. they figured out a insecurity in our election systems. They found an access point. They weaponized it. And then they broke our elections. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the good part about all this. People paid attention. We paid attention to what was happening in Wisconsin. And on the ballot, because we do still live in what some would call a democracy.
Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate that, man.
On that constitutional republic, there was an amendment process that exists in every state, by the way. Every single state, every single election, there is a.
And thank you, Bruce, for coming back every time I go live. I appreciate you coming back, man. And chiming in. Thank
Big
you.
one in Florida was like, should we allow
Everybody, thank you guys.
weed everywhere? Thank God Floridians voted that down. But no, we're not going to be a state of like a bunch of hothead losers, rotting their brains. It's like in California. We're not going to California, Florida. Thank God that happened. But in every single election, there's like something, and that gets put on the ballot through referendum mechanism. People signing, people submitting signatures, say, I want to be able to vote on this. Place it on the ballot. Well, here we go. Wisconsin voter ID requirement. Wisconsin voter ID requirement was placed on the ballot through one of these referendum mechanisms. And the big battle was getting enough signatures verified from Wisconsinites in order to do this. The best part about it, ladies and gentlemen, is once they got the signatures to verify voter ID with every single vote and have the mechanisms and systems in there that can be programmed to say, no, that's an illegal communist from China. He's not allowed to vote. He's not an American. Now, there's this person or that person. Yes, this is a resident of Wisconsin who's an American. They can vote. It should be the simplest thing. We are right on the verge of like freaking landing spaceships on Mars, having Tesla robots do all of our chores. We can't figure out our voter ID. We can't figure out if there's just citizens voting. Of course we can. What happened next? It was magical. Once the question was placed on the Wisconsin ballot, Democrats couldn't fight it. There's very powerful libs in Wisconsin. Lib senators, lib governor. It's a very powerful, it shouldn't be that way, but there are powerful Democrats in Wisconsin. They have a viable party, that's for sure. They don't have it in Florida, but they do in Wisconsin. This article, thank you, Clint. Voter ID requirement will be added to the Wisconsin Constitution after referendum passes. Democrats didn't even fight it. Democrats didn't fight it. They didn't even try. How do they message against this? As we have proven time and time again, this is a 90-10 issue. 90% of the country wants voter ID. You cannot fight against it. Once it is put up to the voters, everyone says, white, black, old, young, whatever lines you want to call from America up into, everyone says, The only 10% of people that don't say to voter ID are the criminal aliens, the literal illegal aliens, and members of the Communist Party who want to rig our elections. And that actually is the makeup of the modern-day Democrat Party. Here's the local news report. It passed with flying dominant colors in Wisconsin. Once it was put on the ballot, it won. Once it was put on the ballot, it was a victory because Democrats have no way to fight it. Here we go.
We want to take you back to Wisconsin, where the state Supreme Court race grabbed a lot of headlines, but we want to take a closer look at something else on the ballot. Voters there approving an amendment to the state constitution, which makes photo ID a requirement to vote. President Trump calls this a big win for Republicans. Correspondent Alex Capriello is live for us in Madison, Wisconsin, with more on this, Alex.
Yeah, hey there, Nicole. So much attention, like you rightly pointed out, went towards this Supreme Court race. And despite losing that handily, Republicans here in Wisconsin are still touting yesterday as a major win, particularly because they're focusing so much of their attention now on this new voter ID law. That includes the
Elon Musk is the man who threw more than $20 million behind that Republican-backed candidate, Brad Schimmel, for Supreme Court. Musk writing on X that this was the most important thing. Tim?
It's the most important thing. What is the law now in Wisconsin? Registered voters must present an acceptable form of photo identification, official, federal, and state identification
Need
at
more
their
coffee?
polling places. Acceptable forms of ID include a Wisconsin driver's license, Wisconsin state ID, U.S. passport, U.S. uniformed services card, like you're in the military, or a veteran's card. You can also present your naturalization certificate if you just become an American citizen. You can't fake those things. You run them through a system. Have you ever presented your ID at a voting location? You run them through the system spits it out. If you are especially if you have the new IDs with the chips in them, it's a whole separate conversation.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Them chips. I don't trust that.
You're not able to fake this stuff. You're gonna not be able to rig these elections. This is a win. This is what's happening. Oh, it is. Got this amazing video that was shared in.
They already tracking us with our phone. They want to track it with the IDs too. That's crazy. I get it, but man, it's too much. Too much tracking.
California asked someone for an ID. Do you know this? That if you work at a polling location, you'll be put in jail if you ask someone for the identification when they're voting. Do you know that in California, voter drop boxes look like this, with mysterious masked men looking like they're in a bank heist, pulling out
Right, wearing a mask
by
outside.
hand just stacks of ballots,
Nice and sunny out there.
just flopping them
Wearing a
into duffel
mask.
bags. Super secure.
I'm pretty sure they had like 5 booster shots by
You are
now.
looking
Still
at
wearing a
ballots.
mask.
This is what our country has come to. It's President Trump. You know, just mystery men in urban wear, flopping ballots all over the sidewalk. Just a classic, very safe operation. California legislature has banned voter ID, has voted in order to ensure that by
I ain't going nowhere on time soon, Bruce. I'm right here.
cannot ask for ID in California. What has this wrought in California? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there are massive cases of voter fraud in California. Put up the heritage chart, please. Thank you. Let's go ahead and check the database here for election fraud in California. We have criminal conviction.
Like and subscribe. Happy Wednesday.
These are all frauds. Overturning of elections, actually based on voter fraud. Where the Department of Justice finds that the person who won the election did so with illegal votes. This has happened all over California. Former Orange County City Council member charged with election fraud. My goodness. California woman charged with voter fraud for registering her dog and voting in 2 elections. Got it. You ever seen that one? Scroll through them, Klein, please. This is just a 10-second Google search on how much voter fraud is there in California. Compton City Council election overturned in the wake of vote rigging scandal. So the dude who won the election was kicked out of office by a judge because he was using illegal criminal votes to get in office. Amazing. Keep going. Sonoma County man, 77, sentenced for voter fraud experiment. The entire state of California is an experiment. Let's continue. You got some more? Just hit me with the headlines here. I had special election for LA County voter received ballot for person who died 31 years ago. Got it. How hard would that be? Exactly. To rig an election when you're getting stacks of ballots for people that died last century. This is how California runs their election. 8,000 fraudulent voter registration applications filed by a pair of Hawthorne election officials. Oh, only 8,000? That couldn't possibly rig an election. That's the difference between every congressional race in California could have been won or swung by 8,000 votes. Every one of them. That's how abysmal California is. Do you have anything else? Okay, that's what we had. And we just crude. We didn't even do. This is just like before 5 minutes before we went live. I was like, hey Alex, find me every single article you can on election. It's just 5 minutes. In no way is this the complete cases of election fraud that happened in California, even for the last couple of months, years, last 2 or 3 cycles. Canadian man charged with voter fraud after illegally voting in 2016 election. Okay, state of Washington. Either way. How many voters were purged from California's voter rolls recently? I think that's the one thing we're missing here. Weren't there 2 million illegal voters that were purged in California election voter rolls? What I'm saying here is it's a mess. What we've proven in Michigan is yes, illegals vote and can vote, and if they have the right connections to the communists, then they can just skip town after they vote. It's like they knew that was happening. What we proved in Wisconsin is that voter ID can win when it's placed on the ballot correctly. Democrats have no ability to fight it. And in California, how many California voters were purged from their despicable voter rolls? 2 million? Here's what I know. There's 5.8 million Republicans in California. Is that wild? There's more registered Republicans excuse me, in California than any other state. In California, Lord Trump tells me that California was the #1 place for them to ship merch for the campaign. We should not abandon these states. There's no such thing as a permanent blue state. There's no such thing as a permanent red state. It's constant vigilance. And that's what we're seeing now. Producers, how many voters were purged from the California voter rolls? Call out by name. ALX, Danny, Jack, Ashley. This is your call. Let me know. We got 4 producers on the show. We should be able to find out. How many illegal voters have been purged from the California voter rolls? Ladies and gentlemen, it's a nightmare in California. But it doesn't have to be. And the same mechanisms. Thank you. California removed 1.7 million illegal voters due to failing return address confirmation notices. 1.7 million? Whoa, wait a second. Don't Democrats just win California by like 2 million votes? Is California a swing state? Gavin won by 2 million votes. These categories alone have removed the amount of votes that Gavin and the left have used to rig election in California and it go red. And now you understand why they're trying desperately to gerrymander California. Ladies and gentlemen, voter registration. There you go. Okay, let's toss the numbers up. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an effort right now to do exactly what happened in Wisconsin to California. It's an amazing thing. It is an effort called Reform California, and it's winning right now. In order to place a voter ID requirement on the California ballot, which of course Democrats cannot defend against. They cannot. What are they going to say? Work through it in your own head. What will the Democrats say in order to fight against voter ID in America's most populous state? You know what they want to say? We've imported millions of criminal aliens to vote illegally in our elections. We've made our elections easy to rig with zero security, and we want all those criminal aliens to vote for infinity benefits, to plunder the wealth of America's golden state into their pockets in exchange for permanent power for the democratic machine. That's what they want to say. If they were honest, that's what they'd say. And that's why we don't want voter ID, because these aliens don't have IDs. That's what they would say if they were honest. Of course, they have no capacity to just say the truth. truth ultimately is that we want to replace all Californians with criminal aliens. We don't like the natives of California. We don't like the people who live there. We want all of you to be replaced by an illegal Haitian or Guatemalan. That's the plan. That's the plan. We prefer that. We prefer to rule over the ashes, right? That's them being honest. They can't be honest, so they can't fight. And this is what they're fighting right now. California Voter ID Initiative. It's 250,000 signatures in just 2 weeks. Yo, how many votes, how many signatures do you need? Californians, well, you need 874,641. So this is well on its way. It's about halfway, a third of the way, let me get my math right. A third of the way done. Don't let me do your taxes. In a record-breaking haul, the backers of the California Voter ID Initiative have collected more than 250,000 signatures of the 800 and so thousand that they need in order to force the issue onto the 2026 statewide ballots. Yes, as required by law, today's initiative proponents will file a formal certification with California Secretary of State to announce the initial tally. Ladies and gentlemen, California State Assembly member Carl DeMaio is leading this effort and is winning. It's an absolutely wonderful thing. We're very, very excited to welcome Carl to the program live right now. Let's go. Carl, welcome to the program. I hear that you're joining us from a unique location. It's the campaign bus, right, for Voter ID California?
That's right. A supporter gave us their RV for free. We wrapped it. We've been driving it up and down the state of California. 72 events over 30 days. That was our initial launch. We're about halfway through and we're exhausted. I'm in Chico, California. Last night we were in Redding, California. You don't get 250 people to show up in Redding, California, but that's exactly what we did. We even went to the Bay Area the night before. On Monday night, we were in San Jose. 500 people packed in to a community center in San Jose. And so we are going up and down the state, collecting signatures, training volunteers. We have over 14,000 trained volunteers that are already deployed in just the first 3 weeks of this fight. And in the first 2 weeks, they collected over 250,000 signatures, which is a record-breaking haul for a citizens initiative in the state of California. So this thing has great support. There's a fire that's been lit, and Californians from all walks of life, even Democrats, are signing this initiative because they want to have trust and confidence in our elections. And as you quite perfectly set up, California has the worst run elections in the world, not just in the country, all right? Third world dictators look at California's elections and they're envious. Like, hey, we don't have to shoot our opponents, we just have to adopt the California election model and we'll win every time. 3.1 million people were just purged, and that was because there was a threat of a lawsuit. But more importantly, all of those indictments that you presented, all of those stories that made it to the media, Benny, that's all happening when nobody is lifting a finger to investigate or enforce the rules. Do you understand how much fraud has to occur in California when you have just on the natural people admitting that they've done something wrong? The lady who got indicted for registering her dog and voting twice posted it on social media and admitted that she did it. She was proud of it. She put a sticker on the dog. There it is. She put a sticker on the dog that said, "I voted." And she posted it 18 months ago to social media. And people had to complain to the district attorney multiple times to get the DA to even take charges. And so all of those examples that you just cited are just a drop in the bucket, because no one in office in California, because all the Democrats are in charge of the DA offices out here, they're not looking for voter fraud. They're covering it up. And so our California Voter ID Initiative, a state constitutional initiative, requires, number one, citizenship verification for anyone registering to vote. It also requires a biennial audit. Every other year, every county's registrar will have their voter rolls audited. And if they're not doing their job, they will be subject to remediation and judicial enforcement. And finally,
Good morning. Good morning.
and so I'm most excited about the fact that we get to clean up our voter rolls. Yes, I want voter ID. That's important. But it has to start with an accurate voter roll.
Dwayne, good morning. What's
Because
up?
if you have a bunch of illegal
How
immigrants
you doing, Russ?
California driver's
Oh,
licenses,
Ross, my
and we
bad.
know
Ross,
that
how
that's
you
the
doing?
case.
Good morning.
What good does voter ID do if you don't first clean up your darn voter rolls that are completely infested with ineligible individuals receiving ballots?
We know full well in Florida, Carl, that illegals get driver's license because they come here and kill Floridians. They come here and they're driving big semi trucks. Yeah, they get them they get these CDLs in California and they drive all over the country slaughtering people because they don't know how to drive because they come from the third world and they bring third world driving habits to American highways and they kill people. Yeah, we're well aware of how easy it is. And I think that the state of California should be held liable for this. The state of California is done with this, by the way, which is amazing. California, you posted here, the Los Angeles Times shows that 71% of Californians support citizenship verification. How do you even fight this? There is no way. There are some 50-50 issues. There are some issues that, like, you can talk about the Ukraine war, Gaza, whatever. These aren't 50-50 issues. These aren't up for debate. National polling is even worse for Democrats. It shows that it's more like a 90-10 issue in favor of voter ID, Carl. So there's no argument for it. Am I right?
No, you're absolutely right. The LA Times.
No argument against it. Forgive me. No argument against it. Here's the national polling, Carl.
Yeah, the LA Times poll, is center left.
He's a Russian asset. What makes him a Russian asset?
Showed a supermajority support for voter ID. We've got 79% support in our polling for citizenship verification. And what's interesting? The Democrats say that voter ID suppresses votes of minorities and that it's racist. Well, in our polling, non-white voters in California support voter ID by a greater margin than these white voters who I call them the guilty white rich liberals of the coast in California. And the minorities are sitting there saying, what's wrong with voter ID? It's not suppressing our votes. That's why we support it. And so if we get this on the ballot, when we get this on the ballot, we are going to have it pass. And, in California, it's very hard to get a citizens initiative on the ballot because, it's expensive. The politicians have made it complicated. It's very legalistic in terms of how you have to sign the paperwork and date it and all that stuff. It costs typically $10 to $15 million to put an initiative on the ballot. But because nobody in the special interest oligarch dark money world supports voter ID because it's all about good for the people, not good for a special interest, we're forced to do this on a shoestring budget with volunteers. And that's never really happened almost since 1978 with Prop 13, the big taxpayer revolt movement in California. But we're about to do it again in 2025. And I'm so excited because when conservatives show that they can get volunteers on a shoestring budget to get things on the ballot in California, bypassing the politicians, that means that we have ballot access. And that means that voter ID is only the beginning. Next up, we're going to repeal the sanctuary state law in California. And we're going to eliminate the welfare for illegal immigrants that California politicians are giving out. That is a massive draw for illegal immigrants to come into this country through California because they're given all these freebies. And we will go after liberal policy after liberal policy after liberal policy because the reality is this. In California, even the voters in California are waking up and they're adopting conservative ideas. And that's why ballot access for the freedom fighters in California is so important. That's why Reform California wants to do this, just not for voter ID. That's important. But we've got to show conservatives in California that if we ignite this movement, they can take back their state. And for you all watching nationally, I encourage you to watch what's going on in California for two reasons. First, if you wonder how messed up your state can get, just look at California. Because the liberals in your state want to do to your state what they've already done to California. So it should serve as a warning to you why you should be active in your state. Because as Benny just said, red states can go blue if you become apathetic. But the second thing is, help us be the disruptors behind enemy lines. Because all that liberal money to support Democrat candidates in all these other states, particularly red states, it's coming from rich liberals in California. They send their money to your state. So help us light a fire behind enemy lines and help the movement in California. Go to the website, voteridinitiative.com. If you live in another state, chip in a contribution. If you know anyone in California, share that website and urge them to download, print, sign, and mail in. There it is. Download, print, sign, and mail in the petition to us because we need to get this done. And it's just absolutely pivotal, not just for California, but America, that we get voter ID on the ballot.
You bring up such a great point. I have a final question for you, Carl. You bring up such an incredible point, which is that what's happened, especially over the last couple of years in America, is that we've just gotten nothing that we've asked for. There's not a single person, gay, straight, black, white, rich, poor, old, young, that wants a bunch of criminal aliens to get access to the treasury of California, the taxpayer treasury of California. No one. It just doesn't matter who you are. Nobody voted for that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants it. We can prove this out through data. Nobody wants criminal aliens to vote. Democrats don't want it. Democrat politicians do want it. But the standard run-of-the-mill, walk down the street Democrat voter is like, no, actually, that sounds really bad. Like, I'm against that. But it's shoved by fiat down the throats of the most populous state in America, California, that houses the most registered Republicans of any state. And these kind of policies, no one wants. That's not democracy, Carl. That's not even a representative republic. That's just ordering. Like, democracy is when the majority gets, over time, they get what they want, right? They eventually get the policies and the society they want. Nobody's asking for this in California. It's just totally wrong. I love that you're fighting it. I love that you're doing this behind enemy lines. My final question for you is, can you vision cast for us? You're a pretty optimistic audience. We like seeing the future. What does California look like with tight and secure elections and voter rolls? Do House seats flip? Is there a potential for Republicans to start campaigning there on a national level? What does it look like with sort of the policies that you're saying you're going to project into the future? What does the California future look like, Carl?
As I travel the state, the first thing I start out with in my rallies is I need to give people hope out here in California, because I believe that we're going to be able to take back our state if we get everyone who is upset about the direction of California off the couch and into the streets, and give them the hope that they can actually stay and fight. Most Californians think our state's on the wrong track. And the ones that are Republican or center-right are so depressed and so hopeless because we have a worthless Republican Party. The establishment out here is worse than even the Washington, D.C. ones. The only thing that they've done for 25 years is sell us out and surrender. That's the only thing they're good at. And so people have lost hope. And the only thing that they think they can do is move to another state, and they don't want to. They love California. You folks that live across the country.
How you doing, True Taylor? Thanks for joining in. Good morning.
How wretchedly corrupt a government needs to be. For people to give up paradise, okay? And Benny, you lived out here for a period. You know how awesome and beautiful this state is. You understand how wretchedly bad your government has to get in order for you to pack up and move somewhere else. And so the first thing I need to do is give people hope. But if they understand that the fight is actually winnable and it takes them, and they animate, they activate, then we are unstoppable. We can take back this state. And the reason why Gavin Newsom is now rigging the election with his Proposition 50 election rigging measure, he says it's about Trump in Texas. That's not true. They've been plotting this for years. And when I filed the voter ID initiative in July, they freaked out. And they thought it was a stunt. And then suddenly he said, no, we've got all these volunteers. We're launching on October 1st. I believe they're rigging the election with Prop 50 because they know when we get voter ID, they're out of office. They know that their seats become far more competitive. So what is your option? Well, option one is to clean up your act and fix your problems. But no, they're not going to do that. They got their rabid far-left extremist base that won't let them. So option two is if you have a fair election in terms of voting, you need to rig the election in terms of the lines. And that's exactly what Prop 50 is all about. The national media, the local media out here in California refuses to tell the story that they've been plotting this for a while and that this has nothing to do with Texas or Trump. And so it is very frustrating because just as we were about to get fair voting, it's looking like we may end up getting unfair maps that are rigged to protect these politicians. But nonetheless, even with bad maps that may be imposed after Prop 50, we're still fighting Prop 50 for the next 2 weeks, and I have hope that we might be able to squeak out a win. Even if they get their wretchedly bad gerrymandered maps, there's one final destination here, and that is we are taking back our state. It may take a couple extra cycles, but Benny, every data point I'm seeing is screaming that even Democrat Californians are waking up and saying we need a shift and a change. And so I'm excited. I'm an optimist. We're going to continue to fight. We have a plan, and that plan requires that I wake up people here in California and get them in the fight. But those of you nationally, send some help to the freedom fighters. If you know anyone in California, share that website, voteridinitiative.com, or chip in a contribution, and we'll get the job done.
Here's the website right there. It's also in the link in the description. Here's Carl's social media. His name is Carl DeMaio, and he has 70,000+ followers. He's one of those guys that is just like extremely rare. He's willing to fight what some say is an unwinnable battle behind enemy lines. You know what? Those are the best kind of fighters. Yeah, those are the kind of fighters that are real heroes. And Carl is winning, and we're excited to fight with you, Carl. We hope to join you on the road one of these days. Be awesome.
Thanks, Benny. Come out for a rally.
Godspeed. We're out there, brother. Thank you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Carl DeMaio is sitting there in the golden state of California. Why do we say the golden state? Because gold has value advantage. Gold can help you get some of that value advantage. Gold is the gold resealer experts, precious metals that I trust in this program. The Fed, we're going to have also members of Congress here joining us. Rand Paul's going to be one of them. I wonder what he thinks about the Fed. The Fed is not good, man. And with the more that they print money, the more they start the money printer, the more actual physical assets are going to skyrocket. It's going to be boomtown. Let's just call it what it is, man. Gold is done great right now. You can legally move your IRA or 401k or TSP into physical gold and silver. Don't let the Fed gamble with your future. Text Benny to 85545 now. That's Benny to 85545 now. Do it today. Get your free copy of the 2025 Gold and Silver Report. You feel the Fed's next move potentially sends metals even higher. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have some wonderful people joining us from the road. Our next member of Congress who is on the program is Nicole Maliotakis. She's great. She's from the state of New York. I don't know if she'll be joining us from a Patriot Mobile device, but Patriot Mobile is obviously our partner when it comes to locking in from the road. We were fighting, not really fighting. I was getting my ass kicked by a UFC fighter yesterday. We've posted a couple of times from there. That was a cool experience, Klein. That was like fun. That was fun to go to Fight Club. But the best part was the interview. It was amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Patriot Mobile keeping us locked in from the road, the only Christian conservative wireless provider. Make sure that we are locked and loaded. You hear me talk about it a lot, but that's because they're like the backbone of the whole show. Mobile hotspots, unlimited data plan, international roaming, and internet backup. Switching is easy. Take a stand today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT and use the promo code Benny for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. Switch today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. Nicole Maliotakis from the great state of New York. We'll talk about some communism in New York. Let's go. Congresswoman, I know it's the great state of New York. I'm sorry. I don't mean to I didn't mean to say that. Uh-oh. Maybe I did offend her. I'm not sure. Did I offend you? My apologies. I apologize. Just going to talk about Kami Mandani and AOC. So, I don't know. It looks like we might have had a technical error, technical glitch with the Congresswoman. We'll see if we can't pop her back on and lock it in. Green room there. Okay, let's see. Let's just go ahead and see if the Congresswoman. Yeah. All right. We'll to the green room. Thank you. The green room. Let's rock and roll, and hopefully I know our best-in-class production team can help her get set. We had a sideways shot there. or ladies and gentlemen, guys, just like tell me if it's good, or if Senator Rand Paul. Either way, we can go to either one, Senator Rand Paul or the Congress. Okay. Hillary Clinton's having a freak out right now over President Trump making the White House great again. President Trump is crashing out on Barack Obama's library. That's one of my favorites. That's my favorite clip from. This is my favorite clip from yesterday. Donald Trump saying that Obama's library just sucks. And it does suck, man. We've gone there. We've videotaped it. We've done videos. It is one of the most hideous buildings ever. It's called brutalist architecture. Show a photo of it, please. It's called brutalist architecture, and it's like the architecture of the communists. And it's just not good. It's a lot of cement, a lot of heavy building materials, and it just doesn't. We actually did a full. We had that loaded. We did a full side by side. What the difference between this and what Donald Trump built? No, guys, we need the actual I want the open for our comparison between the two buildings. No, because that's what Trump does. You have this the length of this clip to go find it. Here we go. Here's President Trump dunking on the Obama Library.
You're building your ballroom right now. They're also building the Obama Presidential Library. I'm wondering if you've seen pictures of the architecture? And
yeah, I did. It's not too pretty. No, but it's closed. It's stopped. They ran out of money. I mean, he's building a library / museum. You call it some museum, and usually they call it library and museum. That's the official name. And they're stuck. And he wanted only women and DEI to build it. Well, that's what they got. And the construction workers are standing out there saying, we want to be able to build it. I built a great building in Chicago, as you know, a big, beautiful building, one of the tallest buildings in the country. And we got it built very quickly, very well. And we use the construction workers of Chicago. They're great workers. They're great construction people. And I suggest that you get them involved, but they're hundreds of millions of dollars over budget, and I think it stopped. I'm reading these terrible stories, but that's the way our country was run under President Obama too. Nobody knew it.
President Trump talking about this beautiful building in Chicago. Has President Trump seen our video? Have we sent this to the administration? We literally did this. Let's go. We literally did
not one, but two presidential towers. One is welcome to Chicago. Home to not one, but two presidential towers. One is a magisterial, gleaming skyscraper of glass and steel, renowned the world over an engineering marvel. We're on top of it right now. It's the Trump Tower, baby. Dope. I love this tower.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Trump Chicago.
And one is Obama's library.
Where are we going? Oh, no. Get your bulletproof vest. What's up, guys? It's Benny. We are here on Chicago's South Side. Behind us, the Obama Presidential Library, soon to be completed. It's almost done. Yes, that is what it's going to look like when it's finished. Some people are calling it the world's most expensive toll booth. What they're really looking at is brutalist architecture, the chosen architecture of Marxist regimes throughout the world. This is the style of architecture that is cement, it's heavy, it's blocky, it's meant to oppress you, not to lift you up. Now, why would Barack Obama choose this style of architecture for his library and his legacy? I'll let you decide. What we're going to do today is ask the people who live around the library what they think of it and what they think it looks like. Will you be visiting? Let's freaking go. Join us today on a tour. So we did it. Hey, Alex, this is my, we like put the show together live. We like in constant conversation with the team. Make sure that we send that to the White House. President Trump literally just, I don't know if Trump's shared that video yet, but we should send that. Send it to Scavino. Let's send it today. And say, yo, we saw that Trump compared his tower in Chicago to Obama's tower in Chicago. Maybe he'd like this. Just I don't know. We've done it. Ladies and gentlemen, our producers are telling me that they are working right now on our next two guests, which would be Rand Paul, or Nicole Malliotakis. But either one is are excellent members of Congress. We're just getting some technical difficulties hammered out. There's a government shutdown and so on going on right now. Perhaps that's affecting the capacity to win the show. That's what we're going to say. We're going to say that, and any show that we criticize the Communist Party of China. Any show that we criticize the communists in China, then they shut down the show. It happens every time. Every time that we lead by going after the communists in China, the show, there's glitches on the show. We think that's what it is. We do. We think that's what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, as we await, my production team is telling me they're working right now. In order to figure out what's next. Klein, you just got to let me know, okay? We're just gonna keep rip-roaring here. Hillary Clinton melts down over Trump's big, beautiful White House ballroom. Now, I was just at the White House. It was incredible. We were there for Charlie Kirk's Medal of Freedom ceremony. We stood inside of this brand new rose garden. What's the difference? Well, the rose garden isn't a soggy disaster anymore. It's a soggy mess. I've been to the White House thousands of times. Not because I'm important, but because I used to work there. I was like a White House. I would cover the White House. You'd sign up to go cover press events. Occasionally, you'd get invited to things. It kind of depends where we were in our career. But I did live in D.C. for 10 years, and so you got a chance to go to the White House for various things. And you would stand in the Rose Garden, and it was a nightmare. It was a soggy disaster. It was just a mud pit, effectively. The whole Rose Garden. So President Trump making it so that you could stand there or be seated, people could be seated there accurately was awesome. And I saw the giant Trump flagpoles. Now President Trump is redoing the East Wing of the White House, which is just like a non-functional wing of the White House. Nobody ever did anything in the East Wing. It's where that teeny little theater was that nobody ever used. It was like goofy little theater and like a bunch of like dingy old rooms that nobody used. It was for the First Lady. Whatever. This is a long tradition of presidents being able to change the White House. Something that constantly happens. There's a whole thread on it. I think it's right here. Yeah. I think it's right here. White House ballroom continues a proud presidential legacy. See here. Pretty proud. How do you think you get the modern day White House? Every single president has demoed the White House and has gone through and rebuilt it. Every president has done something to the White House. Some of them do full-scale demolitions. Some of them do full-scale rehabilitations. It is an incredibly old house. It's hundreds of years old. Some people, you scroll down the photos at the bottom here, some people here, like 1950, Dwight Eisenhower gutted the entire home. This is the inside. There you go. This is the inside of the actual structure, what you would call the White House. The whole thing was ripped down. Ripped. Limb to limb. Brick to brick. Torn down from the inside. Look at that. Oh no, our sacred democracy. Look what Trump's doing. Eisenhower. Anyway. President Trump tore down a relatively unusable wing of the White House and he's now rebuilding it. Hillary Clinton decided to shriek about it and to claim that President Trump is destroying the White House. You can see the photo here. This is a photo that looks like, well, something you can see on HGTV, right? As a fixer-upper, this is like every episode of every HGTV show. They're just renovating a house. You do demo, and then you rebuild. Which is alarming. Hillary Clinton is saying this is our house.
Thanks for joining in. Like and subscribe. Thank you, guys. Happy Wednesday.
Okay, ladies.
Thanks for joining in.
Oh, you want to pick, so to speak. Is this the hill that you are willing to die on? Really? We're all aware of how you and your family treated this house. We are fully aware of what y'all did inside this house. And there are quite a few scandals. The Clinton White House.
Oh, man.
Some of those scandals have, of course, been revealed in reactions to this. Eric Trump, the ballroom will be spectacular, unlike your work in Haiti. Just go ahead and cycle through these, shall we? What destroyed it was your husband getting blowjobs in the Oval Office.
Right.
Costco and Hawk, your fictional autobiography. It's clearly not your house, says the GOP, okay, in a safe for work comment. Just a reminder that the Clintons stole hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of goods from the White House. They also
Spoons.
sold the White House to the highest bidder. The Clintons sold the Lincoln bedroom for hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of donations. Blue dress, so on and so on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is obviously an important moment, right? In order to establish what Hillary Clinton's actual history was inside of the White House. And it's been great because I like the Clintons so much. Caroline Levitt defending the new ballroom. Here we go.
And I believe there's a lot of fake outrage right now because nearly every single president who has lived in this beautiful White House behind me has made modernizations and renovations of their own. And in fact, presidents for decades in the modern times
Because Trump doing it, they don't like it. That's crazy.
they had a larger event space here at the White House that can hold hundreds more people than the current East Room and state dining rooms can. In fact, President Obama notably complained that during his tenure, he had to hold a state visit on the South Lawn and get a very expensive tent. If you talk to journalists who have covered the White House for decades, as I do here every single day, they will also tell you that administration after administration have publicly and privately spoken about the need for a larger event space. So while many presidents have privately dreamt about this, it's President Trump who is actually doing something about it. And he is the builder-in-chief. In large part, he was reelected back to this people's house because he's good at building things. He has done it his entire life, his entire career. And construction is a process. At the end, the East Wing, which is an entirely separate structure from the executive mansion you see behind me, will be more modern and beautiful than ever. And then on top of that, the White House is going to have a big, beautiful ballroom for generations of Americans to come. And the best part of it all, it's not a dime of the taxpayers' money. The president has worked hard to privately fund this entire project from start to finish.
Yeah, it's kind of remarkable, actually. I think that our next guest will like that. Somebody who's clearly a fiscal hawk, somebody who doesn't like our national debt and uses potentially the greatest threat to America and our future, and our children's future, Senator Rand Paul, who joins the show live. Senator, welcome to the program. It's an honor to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So, President Trump paying for the renovations at the White House. Good news?
You know, I'm not losing a lot of sleep over it. I would say when I rank my top 10 worries for the country each night, the ballroom construction is not on the list.
Okay. Hillary Clinton, does she have any grounds to actually criticize this, given her history at the White House?
You know, the Clintons are the gift that keeps on giving. There is no end to Clinton stories, Clinton scandals, and ridiculous statements from them. So I'm happy to take a chuckle and listen to anything about the Clintons anytime I have a little extra time.
All right. Someone that you're not happy to listen to when he testifies is John Brennan. I'm sure that you're very happy that the House referred CIA Director John Brennan, the DOJ for criminal prosecution over false statements about the Steele dossier, false statements from Congress. So, I mean, I think some of those false statements were to you, Senator, if I am recalling this correctly.
You know, I have a general sort of opposition to how much power we've given the intelligence agencies to spy on Americans in particular and to spy indiscriminately. I think the spying power was used on President Trump in 2016, the FISA warrants. These are Foreign Intelligence Service warrants that are basically not consistent with the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. It's a much lower standard. They say association with a foreign government. So some of the people who worked in this campaign, they allege, were associated with the foreign governments. They just got wide and expansive powers. So I'm against the power in just in general and how much power to spy on Americans. But more specifically, the individual characters like Brennan, Clapper, Bolton, others, are examples of the people who get attracted to this kind of power, like Boston Flame. They come, and the weakness of humans to submit to or to succumb to the allure of power is evident by people like Brennan, people like Clapper, who do lie, who do spy on Americans, who do take that power and abuse it. Really, one of the most egregious things is that they're still allowed to be talking heads on television. So both Clapper, Brennan, and a whole host of others signed a statement saying that the laptop, that Hunter Biden's laptop, was basically a Russian hoax. And yet they still are allowed in polite society. People think they should have access to our nation's secrets. The Democrats would bring them back into power if they were to win the White House again. That is particularly galling. So I think Brennan's getting his just desserts. I spoke for 13 hours. My first filibuster in the Senate in 2013 was against John Brennan. So I have no love lost for the guy.
It does seem wild that the people who are being indicted right now, James Comey, for instance, Letitia James, these people are law enforcement. That James Clapper, John Brennan, these are the people that were the most trusted with America's secrets and the implementation of law enforcement. They're at the very least being indicted for criminal activity, and that should send a little chill down all of our spines.
And I think it's just, but then there's also the problem of too much power being legislated or delegated to these people in general. So the biggest fight we've had in the last 10 years was over the FISA database. Is they suck up all this information. Now, foreigners don't have constitutional rights in other countries, so I don't really care what information you get. But if they talk to an American, my information in that database should get Fourth Amendment protection. So we put forward a warrant requirement that if the government want to search for an American in the FISA court documents that have been gobbled up from all around the world, they would have to have a warrant. They would have to have a Fourth Amendment warrant. They can't just search it. Right now, they can pretty much search and do what they want for all kinds of crimes not related to terrorism, potential domestic crimes, or political enemies. So we have this vote, and I don't know if you remember this, it was about 3 or 4 years ago. Mike Johnson was the deciding vote. He voted against the warrant requirement. It failed on a 212 to 212 vote. And so it's, I think, ironic because sometimes people criticize me for not being a big enough or 100% supporter of everything the president wants. But there's nobody in Congress that is more for getting rid of the abuse of power that they used to go after Donald Trump. And that was the FISA court, this secret court, foreign intelligence court that went after Donald Trump. They abused him. People like Brenner and Clapper were the ones directing it. But take that power away, will it never happen again? Mike Johnson, who is now the president's friend, was the guy who voted against the reform. He killed the reform in the House, 212 to 212. And so these are the battles we should be having instead of the petty battles where people say, oh, Rand Paul doesn't support the president enough. No one supports reforming the intelligence community and these abusive powers of John Brennan more than me. It's about any president. We shouldn't let the American government spy on Americans.
Yes, it sounds like we apologize. There's a small glitch. You're hearing that too, Klein? Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Whenever we talk about the Communist Party of China, whenever we talk about government spying, there's always some type of glitch in the live stream. Whatever. We hear you loud and clear, Senator. We've also read the stories that there's senators that were being spied on in Operation Arctic Frost, and that your colleagues were having their data being scooped up by the FBI just for investigating this. This is very Orwellian stuff. Can you give us an update on that, Senator?
Yeah, the irony is that a couple of the senators, I won't mention any names, but Lindsey Graham, have been ones who have been in favor of the spying. They've been in favor of indiscriminate spying, and he has always voted against any restrictions on spying on Americans. And now it turns out he became the victim of a spying campaign directed by the Biden people. So I wrote an op-ed on this. It was published about a week ago, and I looked at the Carpenter case. The Carpenter case was decided by the Supreme Court saying that your location data, where you are in your phone, like right now, if your location service is on, people can snoop, they can call the phone company and find out exactly where you are. every moment of every day. The Supreme Court ruled that information actually deserves Fourth Amendment protections. So there's two different ways you can get information. One is a subpoena, like a grand jury subpoena or an administrative subpoena. It requires just relevance to an investigation. They can get anything they want. The court said, well, your corporate business.
Good morning. Thanks for joining in. Good morning.
Account isn't really yours anymore. You keep it at the bank. You don't have a personal interest in that. But the court in Carpenter said your geolocation does. This is a long way of getting back
Happy
to
Wednesday.
spying on Lindsey Graham and the others, is they looked at their geolocation with a subpoena from a grand jury. This is Jake Smith. I think it was an abuse of power, but I also think it was illegal under the Constitution. So I've encouraged them to sue. I think they should sue the phone company because I think the phone company ought to be liable for not protecting their privacy. This is an open-ended question, but I think they all should sue, and there are rumblings that some of them might sue. It's harder to sue the government, but I think what Jake Smith did under Jack Smith, what Jack Smith did under this was an abuse of power, but I think unconstitutional also. And it needs to be pursued, or this kind of nefarious spying on senators and congressmen will happen again.
I mean, Senator, isn't this like what Nixon was impeached for, right? Like Nixon had to leave office because he's spying on some, he's spying on political opposition. Wasn't this like the biggest scandal, so-called, in American history?
Unfortunately, the bar has gotten so low that, government's expected to do bad things and nobody blinks an eye anymore. And then the other side is told, oh, well, it was just going after Trump, and they hate Trump so much that they really see beyond the abuses. Now, on the reform of FISA, though, we did get beyond politics. That was a mixture of libertarian Republicans and civil libertarian left-leaning Democrats who came together, and we almost had it. We were one vote shy until the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, came forward and voted to keep or not to have a warrant for a search of FISA, to let them to continue to search the FISA database willy-nilly and potentially search it for political opponents. I think that's what they did to Donald Trump in 2016.
Some people watching this are going to say, like, why do Republicans vote with the deep state? And there have been many members of Congress that have been on the show, some from your region of the world, Tennessee. Tim Burchett's a good example of this. Who've said, like, the reason they vote that way is because they're compromised. And that someone from the deep state either shows them a photo they don't want out, or there's something like that can explain some level of leverage that they have over them, and they're able to maintain power and control in that manner.
Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the subs. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much. Could that be happening? Maybe. But I think most of it is philosophic. So, for example, I know Lindsey well and actually like him personally, but don't agree with a lot of the policies. He would simply argue that we got to be fast, we got to go after terrorism, and we got to be able to, maybe some Americans are going to get caught up in this thing, but we got to have expansive power to protect the country, and that we need it for national defense. I don't know if his opinion will change now that he's been scooped up in the intelligence world.
Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate you guys joining in. Like and subscribe.
For example, if you want to spy on everybody in Libya, I don't care, frankly. That's foreign relations, foreign affairs. It may not be good for relations with that country if they know you're spying on every phone call, but there is no constitutional protection for Libyans in Libya. There is for Americans in America. We should be very, very cautious not to let the government snoop on all of our personal phone calls, our metadata, our geolocation. But as far as foreigners, you can. So I think you can spy on people outside the country or attacks coming from within. I think if you have people in the country who have gotten here and you think they're plotting against country, it's not that hard to actually get warrants. Most times judges do grant warrants, but you have to present some evidence. And I think you could still do that. But what happens now is the FISA database is so huge, they say, well, I think Mr. Jones is a drug dealer. I don't have any proof, but why don't I search the FISA database, find out where he is all the time, then start investigating him. Then in backdoor, I get information that he's a drug dealer or he's committing tax fraud. And you say, well, those are bad people. Well, what after bad people? The problem is we have the Fourth Amendment for both good and bad people. The Fourth Amendment says the government has to present probable cause. There's a standard. And the FISA court doesn't have that standard. Its standard is they can collect anything they want as long as there's some association of a person with a foreign government. but it could be I talked to a reporter in Washington who also is stationed in the Middle East some of the time, who talks to an informant from Hamas. Well, now I'm 2 hops away from Hamas, even though I've never ever talked to anybody at Hamas. Does that give the government the right to spy on my phone calls? Because I talked to a legitimate reporter who happens to talk to a contact in the Middle East who happens to be a terrorist. And so we can't allow that. We have to be much more strict on defending civil liberties. But I'm hoping this new and latest spying scandal will motivate some people who haven't been on our side, like Senator Graham, who maybe he would be more motivated to take a look at the abuse of FISA and the abuse of these spying powers.
Yeah, Senator, it has been weaponized. I don't want to belabor the point here. I know I've asked 3 questions about this, but before we switch topics quickly, the only phone that it seems like they couldn't spy on was the January 6th pipe bomber. Have you ever found that strange?
We never heard any more about it. You would think in our era, with all the cameras